Time is 7 p.m. Roll call, please.
Linda Boving,
Here.
David Craycraft,
Here.
Rich Dobda here, Patrick Lynch, Pete Lynch,
Here.
Whit Wardell,
Here.
Roger White.
Here.
I'd like to excuse Patrick Lynch.
I'll second.
Roll call, Linda Boving,
Here.
David
Yes.
Craycraft,
Yes.
Rich Dobda, yes, Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
I get an approval of minutes for the December 17th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 17th.
I'll second, Roger White,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Pete Lynch,
Abstain.
Rich Dobda, yes, David Craycraft,
Yes.
Linda Boving.
Yes.
Who seconded that?
I did.
Pat Lynch, on the first part.
Rich.
Andrew, do you want us to step in the back there?
Yes, yeah, if you guys want to make a motion to adjourn for the election of officers at 7:01.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn for the election of officers for 2025.
Second. Well, you got a lot of.
The one by the old gas station? Not that direction. Or is it the other way?
It's towards, if you're coming from the old high school, you're going towards, swimming pool. It's on the right hand side. It's that old brown, green brown house.
Ranch?
No, it's a two-story.
Sherry Hayes is still there? Am I thinking? Remember Sherry Hayes?
Yeah.
I know where you mean, at least I think I do. Yeah.
It's probably not.
You gonna spruce it up? Is that what you're at? You're here to,
Told Janet, I said, I can't make an ugly house pretty,
yeah.
but I can make it less ugly.
You know, baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Pretty. Anything else to do, so.
You know, try to remember. You know, that back part, you can envision bumps up against the bank parking lot, has that stuck into the steps that go on.
Yeah.
So we can try to pull that stuff off. Speedy.
Time in 7:04.
Might be too late.
For the election of officers for 2025, a motion was made by Dave Craycraft for Pete Lynch to remain as chairman, seconded by Linda Boving. A motion was made by Roger White for Dave Craycraft as vice chairman, seconded by Pete Lynch. And a motion by Dave Craycraft for Rich Dobda to remain as secretary, seconded by Roger White.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Sure. Roll call, Linda Boving,
Yes.
David Craycraft.
Yes.
Rich Dobda, yes, Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Roger White.
Yes.
Thank you. The first application on tonight's agenda is CA 25001. The address is 33 Washington Street. The request this evening is for new vinyl windows on the single-family home. This residential home was constructed around 1870, has not been before the Landmarks Commission for approval in the past. The applicant is seeking approval to replace the 12 existing 2/2 wood windows, in addition to the aluminum storm windows with new 1/1 vinyl windows. Up on the screen is a photograph of the front elevation of the home. Looking at the other elevations here, you can see that all of the existing windows on the home currently match, and they all have aluminum storms in front of them. From the information I could find in our historic inventory form from 1987 is that this house had asbestos siding on it at the time. Since then, probably in the early 90s, had the vinyl siding added over top of it, just based off of the photographs here. It looks like the trim work is proportionally about the same size in this little tiny photo. It just looks like whenever they added the vinyl siding, the coil wrap was added to it. Here's an up-close photograph of the existing condition for you to see. Again, the existing wood 2/2 window with the aluminum storm is being proposed to be replaced with this vinyl 1/1 window. No grids are being proposed. Talking with the applicant, he's doing the window installation work himself, and he noted that none of the existing exterior trim will be removed or modified during the install, and that all the windows will be cut to fit the existing openings. The applicant's here if you have any questions.
What
Would you
color?
mind stepping up? Thank you. Sorry.
Can you sign in, or just put your name and your, please?
On the address, what, do the address that we're meeting about or my address?
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Did you say what color what color were the windows gonna be?
They're going to be the white trim instead of the.
Okay. So the storms are coming off, the window's coming out,
Yes.
and then you're replacing it with, did you say 1/1?
Yeah, one over one. And I won't do anything with the wrap or anything like that. That's all going to stay there. So essentially, it's just going to be, order custom windows so that they fit exact. So they don't have any extra.
It looks like the original window is what, 2/2,
Yeah.
maybe?
Dave, can I get you to talk into the mic, just so I can pick you up
Okay,
the audio?
I'm sorry.
That's all right, thank you. Yeah, the existing windows are wood 2/2.
And are all of those storm windows installed over, I guess, not under that coil, the brown coil that's on there now?
Correct.
So you're able to get all those out without removing any? of the
Without
coil?
having to, theoretically.
Typically, I think for the vinyl windows that we allow to go in, we like to see a like-for-like transition. Is there a reason, does this company offer a 2/2 in vinyl?
Yeah, and Andrew and I discussed that, and I really don't have a preference, but because a couple of the windows aren't, they've been replaced, evidently, I don't know, half the windows are broke out right now, so
So most of them are 2/2, right?
over half of them are.
Okay.
But there's still several of them that aren't. And I think I like the more I mean, I went to school every day and walked past this house for, now it's been a few years ago since I went to high school here. But I remember this house being, I mean, it's not a beautiful house, but I mean, it was nice. And I just want to bring it back to that level.
I think though to keep 2 over 2, I think that would be, I
Yeah,
guess my preference.
You can get a 2/2. I don't know about this particular company, but a 2/2 with a, excuse me, a simulated divided light so that you still have some depth to the window. When they put this on and they cover up all of the existing casing and beautiful woodwork on it with the brown coil, we start to lose all the architectural detail. So the little bit of architectural detail you have left in your windows is, we'd like to see that preserved. Again, I don't know much about this company here, but I think I'm with Dave. I'd like to see it. I'm fine with the vinyl as long as we can go a 2/2. Looks like the ones that are broken out are in the garage, which is correct.
There's quite a few in
Look
the
like
house,
they're, look
too.
like they're 2/2 as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the garage is the next application. You know, originally when David came in to talk about the application, he did have a internal grid 2/2 spec. After looking at his paperwork, I advised him to either look at doing a simulated or removing the grids, rather than doing an internal grid product. I don't know if he's looked at a simulated divided light pattern. But the idea was, like you said, Mr. Lynch, to make it all consistent, and consistent with whatever treatment will be taking place in the garage for the next application.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the next application says to match the windows
Correct.
approved on this application.
Correct.
So kind of set the standard
So
for
I'm
that.
going to do them
All at the same time. When is your plan to do that? As soon as possible? Are you looking to do it in the spring?
No,
You ready?
well, I'm a 5 to 7 week out once I order the windows.
Okay.
So I'm looking at install somewhere in the middle, latter part of February. As long as it doesn't stay so darn cold like it has been.
Right. It's getting a
And
little
when
bit-
did you say the windows would be ready to install?
5 to 7 weeks from
Okay.
the time that I
Okay.
order. I haven't ordered them yet.
Right.
I'm hoping I can order them tomorrow. But that was what they said the lead time was.
So we'll probably ask you to see if this vinyl window company
I would
can
like-
do a simulated divided light in
Yes, I
2
would
over
like to
2.
see that. I know Quaker offers several options with a simulated divided. There's quite a few other companies out there as well. Again, I don't know about this particular vendor. That's my opinion. I think I'd like to see an option. We've worked pretty hard to try to keep the vinyl windows that we have approved with the simulated divided light unless they were 1/1s.
Do you remember that graphic I was showing you, David?
Yes.
For the
I was just
the
going to
light?
ask you what,
That's for the grids to be on the outside of the glass, is what they're talking about. Did you have that priced at all when you were looking? Or did you just go to the no grid?
well, I went to the new grid.
Okay.
Because that's what the way we had discussed about doing it that way. Because I thought that looked a little bit cleaner and a little nicer.
I was originally, the first windows he had spec was a Anderson 150 series with the internal grids. I don't know what series offers the external.
Yeah, I'm not sure with Anderson either. I can't think of a single vinyl window that we have approved that has an internal grid.
No, yeah, not in the last decade.
Right. Yeah, again, we don't have a problem with the vinyl. It's an economical window. A lot of them are really good windows. I have Quakers in my house on Waterloo, and I'm real happy with those. And they have a simulated divided light, which is an external grid. I would recommend looking around a little bit and seeing if you can find a second option and bring that back to us, and we can just table this for the time being, if you don't mind coming back to next month. I hate to put you off, but this
I mean,
is kind of where we are.
If I come back at the next, I'll do whatever you want me to do, okay? But I would rather not have to come back.
Do you have any preferences on manufacturers to at least give him?
We also have to look at the cost factor.
Right, that's why I threw Quaker out, just because they're a cheaper option for vinyl. It's not the lowest option, but they're gonna hold up a whole lot better than a lot of these,
Well, the ones that I
these
have
others.
spec'd out and everything like that, those are the ones that I have installed in a lot of other houses.
Okay. I mean,
And they seem to really hold up, because I have rental properties that I need to make sure that when I do them, they don't leak in. That's why I have people stay on my rentals all the time. They're-
So you said what brand are in your other,
Excuse me?
what brand do you put in your other?
Um,
American Craftsman?
Yeah.
Okay. But I guess you could start there and see if they offer the 2/2
I
simulated
didn't see it on their
light.
website, but maybe you can.
Pardon?
I didn't see it on their website, I was just checking on my phone, but.
Yeah,
Check on the sales
when I've
rep.
used the grids, I've always used the internal grids, not the.
Right.
not the external.
Well, let me ask you this, if he finds out that he can get 2/2 simulated divided light, is that something you could approve, Andrew?
If you guys have no problem with the specs of this window other than the SDL, that's something you guys could approve this evening, but if you want to see if it's a different brand, like that come back, then,
I'm personally not concerned with the brand. It's the, the curb appeal and the historic preservation of the divided light for me. So I would be fine approving a vinyl window if you can get one that you're satisfied
I mean, I'm
with the
just trying to
cost.
think so he doesn't have to wait another month.
Sure,
Yes.
I'm totally,
And
I'm absolutely fine with it.
So he'd only come back if he could not get the 2/2?
Correct.
Okay.
it looks like
I'm sure I can
American
find
Craftsman does have an SDL.
They do.
Yeah, I
Okay.
just clicked on their 70 series, and under the grids, they have a 7/8 inch SDL and a 1 1/4 inch SDL.
Yeah, I just didn't see it in a 2x2, 2/2.
Some of these websites are pretty,
Do they show a 2/2?
No,
They might
Not
still,
under the
it's
grill
possible
pattern,
they still
no.
have it. Yeah, I know 84 Lumber can get them because I just saw something a couple weeks ago when I picked some other windows up. So if you can't find it there, maybe check with Tim down at 84. He might be able to find what you need.
I bet.
So we want to make a motion that we'll approve a 2/2?
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyone want to do that?
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-25-001 with the exception that we will accept a 2/2 simulated divided light.
I'll second that.
Roll call, Roger White,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Rich Dobda, yes, David Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Linda Bovee.
Yes.
So I guess you get the information
Give it to him.
and give it to Andrew.
So we will meet again in a little bit. In a couple days.
Probably tomorrow.
But if American Craftsman doesn't have it, then Pete's advice of going to 84 and
84.
I mean, a lot of, there's,
Look for the Quaker, right?
84 won't care Quaker. That's going to be Northern Window and Door.
Okay.
There's a couple, I forget the other one. I don't know. There's another one out there, but I forget who they're a vendor for.
I'll get them some.
All right.
The next
Thank you.
application is a CA 25002.
we're good.
Same address at 33 Washington Street. This request is for the barn in the back of the property, new garage doors and new vinyl windows. This is the existing condition of the barn that's to the rear of the property. I'm looking back, I just want to see personally any history on accessory buildings along this alleyway, just because it was so close to the railroad and canal system. I could find this property's had different outbuildings since 1895, but in 1941, it shows there was a two-story detached building along the alley. In 1925, it was a one-story with a carport attached, so I think some reconfiguration happened within that time frame to this current building. The applicant is looking to install two new garage doors The door here on the right is actually just painted plywood to seal up an entry for a failing door that has been removed. The door on the left is an old wooden garage door. And the new doors the applicant's looking to install are a 16-panel steel garage door with no windows. And then on the exterior elevations, all the window openings on the sides and the upper floors, the applicant is looking to install 7 vinyl windows that will match the house. So looking at the elevations here, you can see that only one of the windows is still intact out of the 7. And with talking to the applicant, these 2 oversized openings on the 2nd floor appear to have been framed in for windows in the past, not doors or anything on the inside, which was a little just unique because their sizing is a little different. Any questions from the commission we got to answer? But again, just from the information I could find, it looks like this building is a block building that was covered in vinyl siding about the same time the house was.
You are correct.
Is the man door gonna be replaced, or is that gonna stay?
I'm going to replace that with the exact same thing.
Okay.
It looks like the trim around the, especially the upper window, is not wrapped.
It is, on the other side, the whole top piece is missing.
Okay.
And-
Of the aluminum coil.
Right. The wood is just showing.
Okay.
So I will, when I get done, it'll have that. So
You'll make it, all the windows match?
I'm gonna make all the windows match.
Okay.
You know, because there's a couple on the house that part of it's ripped off and stuff like that, and I'll be repairing that so that it all looks consistent.
And then these windows will match the house windows?
Yes, sir.
So the upper windows, they're kind of odd size. Are you going to keep those that size as to not mess with the siding, or what's the plan there?
As long as I can find a window that long, I will keep it consistent. If I have to shorten it up a little bit, then I'll make it go away so that it'll still look, it's still gonna be a window. It just may not be that as long. I really don't want to put a door there, a door to nowhere.
Oh, is that what it was, probably?
I don't know.
Looks like it could be a door.
I mean, it's got a nice floor in it and stairs going up. I mean, it's probably the most redeeming thing of the whole place.
Is that just an attic space up there?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like storage and stuff like that up there. I mean, there's nothing in there now, but it looks like that's what it was. Because it's got stairs going up to it and everything. And it's, at the peak, it's probably 12, 13 feet. It's pretty tall up there.
And
At
the
the
garage
top.
doors will be a panel.
Excuse me?
The garage doors will be a panel style door.
It's going to look exactly the same.
Yeah, except no windows.
No, all for the garage doors themselves? Yes.
Okay.
They're going to be consistent as like 3 or 4 doors down. They've got the same thing. I think there's 2 or 3 houses right down through there. They've got the same door I'm looking at.
Is that just a flat recessed panel? It doesn't have a raised panel detail? It's kind of hard to
Currently?
tell. Yeah, it doesn't look like
It's
it.
just flat.
Just flat.
Yeah.
Okay. And the new one's not going to have a raised panel detail, being aluminum?
No, well, it'll, pretty much is flat. I mean, you can see
It's
that
not-
they're square.
It's not going to look a whole lot different.
Yeah,
Nothing extravagant.
it's not gonna be like a flat recess panel, because I looked up the information on this one. It's gonna be like a new style, new build garage door with
It usually has a slightly raised.
45
center.
edges, and it's kind of like recessed but not.
Okay. My recommendation, I think here, I'm sorry. You have a picture? Yeah, so it's kind of a raised panel at the center, is what I thought.
That's 3 doors down from this.
I think that'll look fine.
It'll look exactly like that.
we have any further questions?
I'll make a motion to approve application CA-25-002 as stated.
Can we make a condition that the windows also need to be 2/2 SDL, like, just like the house? Garage doors are okay, and the man door you said is gonna be replaced with a like 2-panel 9-light steel door?
Yes.
Is that to be painted?
Yeah, it comes primered
Okay. And you plan to paint it?
white.
And any missing coil in those couple spots is gonna be replaced, correct?
Correct.
I'll second.
Roll call, Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Roger White,
Yes.
Pete Lynch,
Yes.
David Kirkcraft.
Yes.
Rich Dowdy, yes. Linda Bowing.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Good luck with your windows there.
I think I'm going to need them.
It's gonna look a lot nicer.
Oh, yeah.
The last application on tonight's agenda, CA 25003. The address is 5 West Waterloo Street. The request this evening is to reconstruct the western addition. Some brief history on this property here. This commercial building was constructed in 1884. This portion of the building we're looking at, minus the stucco addition, is noted in the historic inventory form as being the northern portion of the building. It was purposely constructed offset along High Street to what appears to give the appearance of it being two separate buildings. However, from the information in that form, these structures were constructed at the same time. The northern portion of the building is a little unique. It has a painted brick treatment that we'll talk about here in a couple slides. The applicant is requesting to renovate the existing stucco addition at the rear of the building. They plan on removing the stucco, installing a new thin brick. The concrete stoop and raised door in this location here will be removed. They will install a new series of windows in this location. And then towards the rear of the building here, this condition will stay with the window and the basement window primarily the same. The applicant did receive the facade grant for this project from the CWICC. So they're here before the Landmarks Commission to get approval on the scope of work. Again, some of the existing conditions from the applicant. This stoop is to be removed with the project as well, as long as that door behind it. Some photographs here showing the existing condition and then the proposed condition. Again, the door at sidewalk level, that opening will remain. This condition will change here with 2 double windows, and then the west elevation will remain primarily the same. The applicant has provided the brick information here, the Bellcrest 700 on the thin brick they're wanting to install, as well as a mortar color. As mentioned, that side of the building is painted brick, but even more interesting, that building as a whole has 3 different bricks as part of it. This painted brick, from the information I could see in photographs, is probably the same as number 3 here that I've noted. This number 2 was actually a reconstruction. This facade, I have some amazing photographs of when that was People's Bank, if anybody wants to see it. Totally reconstructed this, so, I mean, like, Art Deco amazing. This center brick column's probably actually covering like an original stone detail that's undersized underneath of it, from what I've found. So I'll definitely share it with you, John. But yeah, so.
Yeah, we couldn't, if I can just, we couldn't find that many old pictures. I mean, we found, a few of them. I'm not sure if we submitted them, but I mean, it's kind of hard to find old pictures.
Yeah, the West Waterloo side of this building is really hard to get photographs of, but the front of this building, we have tons. For whatever reason, my photographs down West Waterloo are drastically lower than any other street in town. So I don't know if someone hated someone on that street and just decided not to photograph anything, but I probably have only 2 photographs on West Waterloo compared to the rest of the city. And that's from the Historical Society and some private collections I have photos from. Looking at the details of their application here, they are proposing a Quaker window to go for the 3 or 4 windows they're replacing. Some details of it. And then for the door, they're looking at installing a fiberglass door, a 6-panel, pretty similar to what's there currently. One question I did have for the applicant, just brought up by our public service director. Does that door swing in or out?
The door currently swings out into the sidewalk.
So just after this meeting, if we want to just chat a little bit about that, just since there's no window or anything in it, so it doesn't swing out into a pedestrian, I just want to touch base. It will be very brief, but just something to go over. And then, as part of the application as well, they have provided a detail for security egress lighting over that door. That would be required for this project from the commercial building code. They've chosen something here that's a little sleek that will be tight against the building, as well for your guys' review. So, feel free to ask me any questions, ask the applicant any questions they have.
Yeah, I've got a question. The Belden brick that's spec'd, how close is that to what we're trying to match?
Yeah, let me first of all just introduce myself. I think I know a lot of you, but not all of you. I'm John Cantner, I own the building. Also Doug Hooper, and Doug, I don't know if you want him to come up or not. Doug is with Mid-State Contractors, and he'd be overseeing the project, so he can kind of help with some of the details here that I can't, just from the view from 10,000 feet. You know, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to make a pretty substantial improvement. I mean, that is an unsightly part of the building, to be sure, and so, you know, we're pretty excited about kind of sprucing it up and thinking about the contribution, I guess, that can make. So for your specific question, I guess I...
Well, is there brick under that stucco?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you have, what's there now, stucco, this is the brick.
Okay. I mean, how does that color compare? I mean, what I'm getting at is trying to match something that really doesn't match.
Because it's
This
painted.
does not match the original brick. This matches more to the painted of the brick, number one.
Okay.
The building's been painted and striped, it's called. That's why it's the color it is. That's why the bed joints, the head joints don't match to real bed joints and head joints of brick.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they just painted the brick.
Okay.
So this is more of a representation of the painted of.
Okay.
So what's the plan with the mortar then, if everything now has just been painted red?
Well, it's painted a light creamish color is the joints
What-
of the house.
Are they?
It does have some mortar.
Kind of, I guess you can.
The joints of this building are a more of a creamy color of the joints in the brick where it's painted.
So we're gonna try to match that as close as possible.
We got a
And your
little bit
ground.
of an off-white historic mortar, and we can get it in the buff, more of a buff color. It's really just gonna be whatever your preference is, what we're to match. If we go to, there's some areas just below where the paint has come off, right above the basement window and right above the cream paint. You'll see some areas where the paint has been, it just came off just because of water and salt being thrown around on the sidewalk. That mortar's white. Originally it was white.
This is an old lime mortar.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you think you might at some point strip that paint off of the brick to go back to the original?
I think that that's something to look at, but right now it's just an economic cost. It's pretty high to do that right now. And it's not good for the building, but right now there's other problems with the building, as the stucco area is and stuff like that, because we actually have active water coming around some of these areas, so.
Well,
I think that's maybe some long-term things that need to be looked at.
Up at the top of the building, where the top of the wall, is that flashing or is that,
It's a piece of brown metal that they
Okay.
have on there now, is a cap metal
okay,
onto that. My suggestion would be is we would just go with a galvanized metal soldered joint and then paint it to look just like the window hoods are, the same color, the cream, to try to keep into the same.
so it would lap over the,
Yes, it would lap over the face of the brick, lap
Yeah.
over the top, and then lap over on the backside to the roof.
okay.
Do you think the cream is I'm afraid it's gonna look more like a, stand out more like a stripe. The color that's on it, I think it's gonna blend in a little better.
Mm-hmm. You mean up at the top? Is that
The
what,
coping at the top there, we were just talking about. It's kind of, looks like it's kind of bronze now.
Yeah, it's sort of a bronzy brown, I think is really what it is right now.
Is
So-
there any of that stucco that's often, I mean, is there brick underneath it? Do you think it was
Certain areas
brick?
of it's brick, certain areas it's framed.
Okay.
Construction, it's sort of a lean-to added to the building.
Is that,
That's some different construction, I should say.
John, what does the interior of this look like from a floor plan perspective? I've been staring at these photos now for several weeks, and I can't figure out, when you're looking at it from like an interior standpoint, does this door lead to a basement?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that
then,
just leads to there's actually just some mechanical equipment down there, that's it.
and then when you walk up these stairs, your finished floor elevation's what, about here?
Correct, for just that room.
And then there's like maybe like a cutout right here to,
Yes, there is a hood almost like inside for the staircase to go down inside.
and then you can access,
Sits on it.
and so you can access this from your door.
Correct.
That's right.
So
Once you
there's
go into
stairs
his
that
office-
lead you
That's
up.
in fact how we access it.
Okay, so you have stairs inside your office that lead up into here. Okay.
The window that's on the west side at the bottom, closest to the parking lot, what are you going to do with that?
I would just not put a window there because it just leaks because of groundwater that's coming past it right there.
Okay.
I can tell you exactly what it got.
Do we need it? Can we
I was like,
brick over it?
could you just
brick
fill
it
it
up?
all the way down?
I think it was just gonna be framed out to look like it's still an opening, but not be an opening.
I almost wonder if that was a cold drop way
I'd
back
be,
when.
I'd be more worried
Size.
someone would like kick it and bust it and maybe just brick it all the way down.
We actually called for that to be removed, infilled with masonry, and then just put a wood frame and a panel back onto it that just looks like, make it look like it's a window, like it is now, but actually be filled in. So if you kick in that piece of plywood, you're inside this building.
Right.
And it takes moisture right there because of the,
I mean, does it make sense just to get rid of it altogether?
John, are
Just-
you opposed to just covering it up and making it look like the rest of the building? Block it in and veneer it?
I would just, I would just, if it'd be okay with you guys, I would just brick veneer clear across it, and be done with it, never even have it there.
Yeah.
It
That's
probably
what we're
used to
talking
be,
about.
it used to be a chute or something, I would assume, to get into the basement.
Like for coal or something?
Fuel oil?
Could have been, I don't think it's, you're not using it now, it's just a piece of plywood that's rotted and just allowing moisture to come down into the basement area.
Yeah, I agree. Get rid of the issue. but
Yeah.
Make it
start-
look just part of the wall.
Yeah.
Seal it up.
I have a sort of a problem in looking at the man door that you have there, the six-panel door. It just sort of seems out of place to me. It just doesn't fit the building.
Well, he's actually got a six-panel door there now.
There is, that's a six-panel door?
No, that's a smooth door there. The six-panel door is the door that's actually going in, up into his office area.
Behind the storm door?
Yeah.
You have the storm door on that, John, your main entrance?
Right
No.
Yeah, or is it just
There's a
drawn in that
six-panel
way?
door right there.
Oh, I see, in that
Well,
section.
just
That's two, then, it's a different six-panel door than what you're proposing, the one that's existing now.
Because this has raised panels, Roger.
Yeah,
What is the door to your office, John?
It's wood.
Is it a panel door, or is it?
It's a
glass?
six-panel door, it's just, or you mean to his main office
His main
door?
office
It's
there.
glass.
It's just all glass, okay, there's no
Yeah,
storm door
it's a
there?
wood with glass.
Can't do that.
So that door is needed.
Again, if you don't want that to be swinging out to the sidewalk, which I think is not good anyway, but I would like us to see if we could take, he has an area inside of a closet that we could give him access to the basement area for his mechanical stuff to be worked on, and just eliminate the door completely.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. He absolutely need it.
How many times have you been down there?
Me? Not too many. It's not nice down there. But, yeah, I mean.
Are the mechanicals down there?
Access it inside.
Yeah, there
you don't
is
need
a couple
the outside.
mechanicals that service his office and some of the front.
Hot water heater, furnace?
There's also, I believe, meters that are down there, so I'm not sure if they would need to have an external,
Reader?
no, if they need to have an external entry for them to be able to say they don't have to come inside of an office to, if they want to read a meter, they.
Well,
normally
that's what
do
I'm
it on the
saying.
exterior side.
Are the gas meters or water meters
I
or?
think there are some gas meters down in there. Water meters are on the outside. around
I wonder
on
if
the
you
back.
can have an
It's gas,
external
light wall might
reader
be under there.
for a gas meter.
Well, then you're putting a whole thing out in the sidewalk.
I mean, just a little reader that's just,
I know they have to go inside for mine in Lancaster, because I don't think they have one that I know of. They have to go in
Okay.
every once in a while.
I mean, if it's not
But they
possible
have
to make
I mean,
a,
they have to access, they have to come into our office to get keys to access that anyway. So
Correct.
there's a difference. They would come in and
Are you
access it
proposing a
inside.
stair access, or like a hole in the floor?
There
crawl
is
down
a
and-
stair inside there,
There
and I've
is.
got replacing on the interior side. It's as
Hey,
the
go
building
easy
is,
on me here, guys.
it is a little bit of a lean-to set of steps
From-
that are on the
From my
inside.
perspective.
No railing to it,
That
so
door with it just
if we are gonna
accessing
leave the door,
mechanicals, that's up to
we
you
had
if you wanna
proposed to
keep
put
it
a
or
new set of
not.
steps inside
If
the
you had,
railing
if that
for it.
led to like an
Just so
occupied space. the
whoever has to
concern would be
access that
someone
mechanical
throwing it
at least
open
got a
into the
handrail
sidewalk.
to.
Yeah.
But if
It
it's going
would
to be the
be
guy
if
props
you
the
took the
door
door
open to go
out.
down there to work on the furnace.
Not swinging out
That
into
doesn't matter.
the public right
So,
away,
That's between you guys if you.
but it
wanted
would
to
make
do
it nicer
anything
at his
different.
office, because he doesn't have that
With the
hood section
opening,
inside.
I think these guys are just more curious on what
It
kind.
gives you more square footage inside that small space.
I'd hate to cut off anybody's good access, but it's an awkward, I think because the existing windows are so big on the building, the door, it looks like a tiny little
looks like a
access
door for a troll or
Yeah, I mean, those
something.
windows, it makes even the main entry to your office look small. What is the door to the dog place there? Does anybody know what that is? Is that a
It's a
wood?
glass door.
That's
It's
a glass
also?
door.
Yeah.
I mean, if it would create a hardship to enter the basement through your office, you know, I'm just throwing this out as, if you can get rid of it, that'd be great. But if you can't, then we'll deal with it.
I almost feel if you keep it just as flat steel, I almost feel like the
Mhm.
six panel doors look
Right,
almost
right.
out of
Let's
place.
just make it a
It's
flush
fine
panel.
recessed up in because it's a main entrance, but to the basement, I think I would just keep the steel door.
Yeah, just a flush panel.
And maybe have it painted something that was really consistent with the brick.
With the brick, I agree.
So it doesn't, so it's not a focal point.
Yeah.
Andrew, would it be okay if we give them the option to remove the door if they choose to do so?
That's what I was just talking to Mr. Cantner about was, the comment I got from my staff on the door was if it was for an occupiable space. But with it being just a mechanical room, whoever's down there is gonna prop the door open anyway. So not as concerned with the swinging orientation of it. You know, these guys would know if it's required by code to have the door there, or if there are another access points necessary. But if there's not a building code requirement for it, then I don't see any issues, if the owner is okay with it, removing it, or, like you guys said, replacing it with a camouflage door that's flat panel painted to hide
Yeah,
it.
steel flat panel, full
Yeah.
flash panel door.
And-
painted
Because it
to
doesn't
nice.
even have a handle on it now, right?
In the
It's just a
beauty
lock.
shop I have down there at 71 West Waterloo, we've, for the last 40 years, we've used a trap door swinging on the side to access the stairs. So it goes up, but we can get down there pretty easily, and there's a furnace, hot water tank, they store Christmas trees, everything down there, electric panels down there. And it's worked for 40 years.
Like an old cellar door that had the,
Yeah. So,
Yeah, my only,
I think it would clean up the whole exterior of that building. That door just stands out right in your face.
to be more of a smooth door.
Either a smooth door or the complete removal of the door.
Yeah.
I could go either way.
If you're okay with that, John, we'll just give you the option to do that. And I do like your idea of painting the door to match the brick as close
Yeah,
as
real
possible.
close. I mean, it doesn't have to be a
Well, we
match of it.
we can look at it either way, but it's, I think it's just gonna be more up for you and to make sure
We'll
we
have
can
to
still
look
get there, but I think,
Interior stuff, I mean, it's worth thinking about, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little more complicated discussion than what doors go on.
with a flush door, we can do that. That'd be no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the easy option, just a new door, or if you want to go complicated, you can get rid of the door, so.
These, jump into windows here, these are wood interior, exterior? Am I missing?
Yeah, it's a clad exterior.
Clad exterior. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the color?
I think it's, I thought we picked a color on there, or maybe we were.
Apologize, I'm trying to find
It's to match more to what we have now, which is, what he has now is a cream color.
It's hard to say what the actual windows and the rest of the windows on the building there are. Those all original on the building that you know of? They appear to be.
I think the windows are pretty much original on the building.
Yeah, at least the ones that face water, I'm not sure if the west facing, I'm not sure about that one. I don't think it is.
Does Quaker offer, I mean, are these colors, is there something that's pretty close to the existing painted headers? The detail, so it's kind of monotone, or at least stays with the, I can't tell what the windows are painted, but I'm assuming they're gonna be the same as
I think the windows are the same as
the sills and headers.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything trim-wise is one, it's like the stucco, it's all one continued color cream.
So probably safe to say we're somewhere in that oyster white or sky white, if you're looking at the color chart.
This is the colors for the windows.
Is
I
it?
thought it was that initially, but
Your goal is to match what's existing, correct?
this is.
Yeah, we
Quaker.
can, let me grab the chart, but I think it has color.
Where's that at? I can't find the one that I've seen.
Yeah, maybe so.
Like satin cream.
And I think, I do believe Quaker will take also, if I have a Sherwin-Williams code match, they can match that color for us.
They'll do a custom match, Quaker will?
Yeah, on occasions they will,
I know Jeld-Wen does.
yeah. If not, I know Colby will.
John might not like that.
It's not that much more.
Oh,
They're nicer windows.
They're a fantastic product, that's for sure.
I've put a lot of their products in, so. Quaker's nice too.
Fantasy Cupcake store is a Colby door. It's held up pretty well. Minus that paint we picked out for it. Anybody else have any questions?
It's just for mine to confirm, the brick that is in your application, this bell crest is the tone to match the existing painted brick?
It's close to it, it's not an exact match, no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's to match what's painted, not the original brick.
Okay. And then just for my own curiosity, I know you said, is it possible to remove the paint? Or is it not likely a good case scenario, that's why you want the colors to match? I want to educate myself a little bit on this.
To remove the paint off of the brick itself, it takes a chemical to get into removing some of that. It may be very expensive and not be
Okay.
an end result. There's some reason why they've painted this brick. I don't know why, because the building that's adjoined to it, they were
Shade.
built the exact same time. They're exact same brick, it's just this part of the building was what they call painted and striped.
I think many houses, brick houses were done that way. I used to own 15 Columbus, and it was that way. But it was peeling very badly. So
The brick or the paint?
the paint was. But the brick was still in very good condition. It still had see, a lot of times what they do is they come in and sandblast to remove that, and that's not good.
No. No. The only way to remove this is a chemical
Chemical.
or freeze it. And again, it's a very expensive way to remove it. And you'd really want to put some good sample areas on to see if that's going to achieve the end results that you're looking for. I hate to have John spend $100,000 trying to remove a paint off a facade and
No.
be very beautiful at the
Yeah.
end.
No.
No, my
It
question-
actually protects the brick in some way.
It's actually not good for it. It doesn't allow the moisture to
Well,
come
yeah,
out of
that's
the
true.
building. And
That's what-
it was a design to change appearance of buildings. It was thought that it was giving you a longevity to the brick. And actually, it's not. It was just a good sales product back in the day. A lot of buildings have it. I've removed a lot of them. It's difficult to remove. The largest building that I've done that had been striped was the Pontifical College on the outside of 270. That building's all been painted and striped. It's difficult to remove.
When you refer to freezing, are you referring to dry ice blasting?
Dry ice blasting, yeah.
Have you had much luck with that on
Yeah,
painted
it's
surfaces?
still, it's expensive. You could do baking soda again. Not just because I'm trying to remove paint, it's because normally the paint product has something in it that will make it considerably more hazardous, which increases the cost considerably for him. That's why sometimes it's best just to leave it alone and try to keep mending it along.
Yeah.
Than it is, because it will get very expensive. If it does, normally the reddish color has it. I'm not saying that it does now, but a lot of times it has it there. And if it's not removed, it can be encapsulated still in the building, remain.
I've got one more question. The stucco and the brick, I should have noticed this. Is it in the same plane, or does it one set back from the other?
I believe that the stucco is, depending, if I stand at that door edge and look up it, there's some areas where the plane of the stucco, just above the door you see,
Right.
that line, there's some areas of the stucco is pronounced beyond the brick, and some areas it's behind the brick. As you can see down in the bottom right-hand corner, it looks there by the steps, right above the little Google.
Mm-hmm.
You can see about where the plane of that section of brick is, so it looks like we got about 3/4 of an inch of stucco that's on here. But then other areas up at the top there where the chimney is, that's a very light coating.
Okay.
It's had quite a few applications on it.
Are you gonna
It's even got wood sills, or wood lintels for the windows.
Are you
Okay.
gonna step back the thin brick or keep it in line? What's,
I try to keep it as much as in line with the building as we can, would be our goal too. But we will have an expansion joint right there between the new and the old anyway.
yep.
See the foundation wall in the original building, it's painted, I guess, like the trim around the windows. Is that, you gonna continue that on the west side to make it look all like the same?
Yeah,
Is the goal to just expose that brick that's underneath and paint that brick?
we're gonna have to do that, or we're gonna have to put on something to make it more match this other side over here. Because some of it's stone on the other side has been painted on, and some of it's brick. Some areas that foundation actually is set back from the stucco edge. So the stucco is actually overhanging some of that stone. It would be nice if we could give it a little bit, like the front of the building, and give the foundation a little bit more pronounced edge to it, to where I have just a small cant around the top. It would make it look more finished.
Do they make a small water table brick that would roll up and some, I mean, typically they're full brick depth, but do they make
Yeah,
a smaller kind
it's,
of coping piece?
I've got two questions. You're not going to do anything with the roof?
It would be nice if we could put a new roof on it. It's a rubber roof that's beyond its days.
Okay. And then second, the old chimney at the back, what are you going to do with that?
It would be nice if we could just take it off so it's level at the top of the parapet wall. It's capped off, it's not being used, and it's in really bad shape. If you look at it, it's cracked and split on the other side.
Well, the time to do stuff like this is now.
There's nothing mechanical venting up through there?
No, it's capped off. Matter of fact, in his office, that corner is, the chimney's on the inside of the office.
Yeah, I don't think it adds anything architecturally to the building.
No, it's not structurally doing it. I think it used to be for a wood stove or a coal stove. It would have been in the office space that he has. It would have just vented out the side of the wall and went up inside that chimney. It looks like a chimney is a little bit taller.
The roof would not be part of what we're doing here because it would be like kind for like kind.
And the roof is, that parapet wall's got about 10 to 12 inches of parapet wall on it, so the roof is actually lower. So it's not, we don't see it at the top, it's actually
Yeah.
recessed down inside there. Because he has some mechanical equipment that's set up on top of there.
Did the
You
proposed
can
drawing,
just barely
I'm
see.
sorry,
No, go ahead.
did the proposed drawing show that, okay, so that chimney would just be taken off and the flashing would just wrap on around it?
Yeah, so it looked like the parapet wall just
Yeah.
went all the way across, like the chimney was never there.
John, earlier I was talking about the coping on the top of that. You had talked about possibly painting it a light color. Are you okay keeping it dark? Does everyone agree that that's?
This piece.
I think it's gonna disappear much more if it stays more of a bronze color.
No, I agree with you.
And back to the little section of foundation showing. I guess I'm having trouble with that all coming out flush. If you're gonna veneer the top, I would think it would be hanging out, which is not gonna be a typical brick installation. Trying to think of ways to, without adding more material there to build it out. Like the
We
water
could build
table.
out the foundation, put the briquettes on it, and at that transition, if we had something 3/4 of an inch to give us a shadow line, we could put a piece of metal across there capping and making it look like the color of the brick. So we're not getting water back inside, but we have that foundation, looks like it's a little bit more of a depth to it.
As far as, it would still stick out?
Yeah, have its.
Further than the upper brick?
Yeah, I think it needs to. We need to have
agree.
something that kind of matches down the side of bringing that foundation band around. We need a little bit of a shadow line there, and if it just went down brick flat, it's gonna look just like we put brick down flat.
Correct, yeah, I agree.
And it's gonna
When you
need
say a
something-
piece of metal, can you explain that a little?
Yeah, if you took the brick at the foundation, let's say I raised it, and it's also sticking out, because I have that, I don't need that water that's gonna be coming down the face of that brick to get in there. So I can take a piece of metal flashing that's up behind the briquettes, out, it just breaks over the edge, and have it painted. So it just gives me that little bit of a shadow line around there.
So you're talking only the depth of the veneer bricks, three
Yeah,
quarters of an inch
About
to
5/8,
an
3/4 of an inch is about what it is. And I think on the front of his building, don't quote me, but it's not much more than that.
So that would all then, from the metal, including the metal and the brick down, that would get painted like the foundation and then your,
Yeah, then you
veneer
can take that
bricks.
brick, even it being new, then we could paint it to match, so it looks like the rest of the building.
does everybody understand that? It's a small piece of metal that's gonna stick out, just a cap, and it'll be painted the same color, so you won't really notice it, just a drip cap.
They do that like at transitions with EFS, correct? Yeah.
I don't know that we need to really state that, it sounds like you've got that.
That
figured out.
transition can have a little bit of a cant to it too, if you wanted to match the stone, so it's not a flat
Yeah.
cutout. You could be a little bit of a cant to it, so it looks like an edge of the stone.
Does that foundation stone actually stick out a little bit, or is it just painted at that point? Do you know?
I think as you go down through the sidewalk down through there, it's a little bit
Depending on where you stand.
depending on where we look at it.
It is a nice ground effect, I like it.
Yeah. And then actually, because of the elevation change, it gets wider as we come to the back. Because I think farther up, there used to be windows, basement windows, but the city has taken the elevation and constantly moved up the road versus the sidewalk to where John lost some of his basement windows.
Interesting.
Dirt
What's on
roads,
the
dirt
north-
roads are always much lower.
What's
Yeah,
on the
they're
north
lower.
side?
I can see the sidewalk from inside on one of them.
Is the north side just like the west side? As it wraps around that we can't see?
That,
It does up till Wigwam.
that's a completely a different construction because that's different brick, that's different, that's everything's different. That's
So your work will just stop at the southwest corner?
correct, just to the
and
stucco
not
right
wrap
now.
around.
Yeah. He's looked at some of that, but that again is future and economics of,
Yeah,
putting that into the, I mean, we've done some different drawings for historical look.
I'll show you at the end of this meeting what that used to look like, where you can take out your 7th mortgage to get that done, because it's very ornate.
Yeah.
It's probably the most ornate storefront that's been ever downtown, so I'll show you guys at the end of this.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that used to have a center door, never was a clipped corner. I got an old photo of it being a center door.
Yeah, I'll show you the photo I have.
The windows.
Yeah, I mean, it's a center door, and then I don't know the time period when this change happened, but
I have a question about the new windows. Was there any thought to putting a lintel in at the top?
yeah, there's gonna have to be new lintels put in.
Are you
Because
just-
they're wood now.
Are you just using steel and the brick's gonna cover, or do we have an
On that
option?
back section back there, that's a wood frame section, because I got a wood lintel in there. I'd like to put in just a piece of steel lintel in there, galvanized steel clip across there.
Just keep it clean the way that it's drawn in?
Yeah.
Everybody fine with that? I think it's a nice transition from new meets old.
Yeah.
Okay, and what are the sills gonna be concrete sills painted, or what are you putting in there? It looks like
We can do actual stone, if he wants to have stone sills. It's,
just 2 of them, right?
yeah. Because we can match more of the front. Those are more of a stone sill.
And they're
We could-
all painted
Yeah, they're all
currently.
painted.
I think I'd like to see a stone sill and just, it's okay being painted. Everything else is painted, right? We're talking just 2 of those. This would be the one thing that ties it together.
You said to paint it.
Yes.
Just go limestone.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be your best bet. Hold up better.
It would look nice.
Does anyone have any further questions?
I think the thing we haven't talked about is that little, the code required light above the door, right? What is on your office door? I mean, there'd probably be a light up over it, maybe up under the awning.
That's panel door, I have nothing.
There's nothing there?
No. And was your light for interior?
This light that Abbott Electric sent was for emergency egress lighting
For interior?
for the
Or
exterior.
Exterior.
It'd be right above the door.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean,
I'm not sure why they sent this one to be quite
I know,
honest.
Above my main entrance door, is that what we're talking
No,
This-
it'd be at that basement
about?
door.
Oh, the basement door.
Yeah.
It would
It's
go-
outside?
It would be
Go right
outside.
on the face of the brick.
Really weird.
I mean, is that required?
Yeah, it is a requirement by
Not if you
code to
get rid of
actually
the door.
have
Yeah,
the
that's right.
light to the exterior
Yeah, I thought
side.
we-
It's not required if you get rid of the door.
I'm with that.
Well, I'll bet.
I mean, just eliminate the door.
See, you could save the
You
cost
save,
of
you save
the
a
door.
$30 light by putting in a $10,000
Do you see we
door.
look out for you?
Do you think it was just because it's a flush fit? I'm just trying to figure out the reason behind this
Yeah.
fixture.
The-
I mean,
My
there's,
only thing is with that fixture, as I knew nothing other than getting a hold of the electrician, and I don't know if they pulled that so quickly, because if that's something that's going on at the OP Cheney,
Okay.
maybe he had the same fixture that was designed for, when they were gonna put the addition on or something, and he just had that submittal, and that's how he got it turned so quickly around. I think your email went out within 45
hour,
minutes we
yeah.
had
It's
that
only-
back to us.
It's only 2 3/16 inches deep, so I didn't know if that was part of it, was it's really tight to the wall, but
But that'll stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, on the brick.
It's a modern light
yeah. I was
to
gonna
a
say,
historic-looking building.
your main door and the Nom Nom Bakery, they have like a lantern style light right next to the door. I mean, I don't, just like a typical.
Oh.
would everybody on here be okay if, when you submit your building permits, to not include any lighting? And if you get told by our chief building official you have to have lighting, you come back with a light fixture? That way, since there's no light there now, if you can get.
Yeah,
away
we have
with
no
it.
light there now, but I would seem to think because I'm changing a door to a door, it's probably gonna be that very fine line gray area that whether I have to have a light to the exterior side or not because of code. Because we don't have one there now,
And you could be a historical.
and we're only
exemption.
replacing a like for like.
Right.
If I was cutting in a new door, it would definitely be a requirement to have that for code.
I agree with Andrew. Let the chief building official tell you
Yeah.
if you need one.
And then if you need one, you can.
Because
come
that's
back.
not,
Yeah.
and they're not hardwired anyway, right? They're just, or.
I think he was gonna hardwire that and probably had a battery little backup for it.
Yeah.
It just adds then electrical stuff that, he didn't have figured originally, but
Right.
Yeah, when I first seen the light, I was like, ooh.
That'd
And
be
I
my-
just thought maybe that's something that you guys have looked at before, and it was like, that's the number one to go with, so.
Yeah, that'd be my recommendation. That way, you know, if you have to do it, you can come back. And I don't know if anybody here would vote for that light that's there tonight, so.
It's pretty ugly.
Thanks for bringing it up, Dave, because I overlooked that part. I agree, I would rather not see that there. If you did put one in, I mean, I guess you just have an alternative. Even in bronze, I guess that would be the least.
Well, like,
likely issue.
you showed me the lights next to John's door now.
No,
And,
Next to all the.
just brings more attention to that
Yeah,
basement.
that's what I was gonna say, is that, like, it almost makes it seem like a door that somebody should be using by putting a nice light next to it.
I don't know, would that even suffice as a emergency,
Like an egress door. I mean, it's not a habitable space.
right? I just
I'd say don't put
I don't
anything
think they're
there,
gonna
but
make you put it on there,
let
being that
her-
you're not changing
She's
the door
putting
size
official-
or putting a new opening in.
question
I
it.
mean, we're just, normally, if I'm cutting in a door, that changes everything. But if I'm just like for like, and it's not changing any structural items, so to speak, then I don't really have to bring the thing up to a code. But it would be worth having him look at just to verify.
Agreed. Is that it? Anybody else have questions? I would like to make a motion that we approve application CA-25-003 with the following conditions. Number one, that we're gonna try to match the existing mortar color to the historic lime mortar as closely as possible to the immediate adjacent brick. Number two, we are gonna frame or block and brick over the west ground level window as if it was never there. Number three, we're gonna give the option to remove the basement door if they choose to do so entirely and cover over with brick as presented as if it was never there, or if they are to replace it, it will be a like-for-like flat steel door to be painted as closely as possible to the color of the brick. Number four, we're going to match the window cladding as closely as possible to the existing historic window color to be determined. And number five, the Bellcrest veneer brick is also to match as closely as possible to the immediately adjacent brick in color. Number six, we're gonna remove the unused chimney section of the existing structure and extend the coping. That coping is to be kept in a bronze color. And number seven, the sills for the addition, there are two of those, will be limestone lintels, or limestone sills, I'm sorry, painted to match the windows as well. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Linda Boving,
Yes.
David Kirkcraft.
Yes.
Rich Dobde, yes. Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell.
Yes.
Roger Whit.
Yes.
Looks good, gentlemen. Exciting.
Thank
It's
you.
gonna look
Good
great.
stuff.
Mr. Keith.
Thank you.
Before you leave, we've never really met. My name is Linda Taylor Henry, and recent name change. And I have a lot of history about the Lehman family, who Solomon Lehman built the complex there.
Yeah.
And he came to Canal, Winchester, 2 years old, in a one-horse-drawn covered wagon. And I have a lot of that history. If you're interested, I can get that to you.
Oh, that would be great.
It's very fun history.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Do
saying.
you remember when that was, when the
I don't know
Lemons
if
came
these
here?
pictures are digital.
40s?
1840s.
Yeah, I have quite a few. Shoot me an
Yeah.
email and I'll
Same
send
time
you
as
them
the
tomorrow.
Probably,
Down here.
probably.
Yeah,
Early on.
We found, I don't know, 4 or 5 just of the front of the building, but it sounds like you've got more than we were able to.
Yeah, I have one from like me to you from the front showing all the detail of it. So I'll send this to you. Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
For old new business, really the main thing I want to touch on tonight is we are going through a process. We're just starting this process to rewrite our entire zoning code. It'll probably take the city and its consulting firm 16, 18 months to get from start to finish. The starting date would have been January 1, so just kind of give you like a timeline. City Council wants to set up a steering committee to help oversee the zoning code update. Part of that would be 2 city council members, 2 planning and zoning members,
For example, do you guys want it?
Oh, sorry.
1 landmarks member, member of the CWICC, and a member from the chamber. So tonight I'm trying to figure out which one of you want to volunteer some time over the next year and a half. We plan initially on the steering committee only meeting 4 or 5 times in the next year and a half, so it's not a huge time commitment. But for the time of the day, we're shooting for like 3, 4 o'clock starts, ending, around 6, as a late kind of time frame. Our first meeting that we have tentatively on the books, if it helps make any decisions for you all, is February 12th, Wednesday, February 12th at 3 p.m. Like I said, that'll be the first meeting out of 4 or 5. So really the job of the steering committee is to help oversee the process. You'll be given some drafts of the new code. Part of why we want the Landmarks Commission involved is this new code will be rewriting the zoning districts for Old Town. We're looking at adopting legislation as part of the zoning code update to allow for accessory dwelling units, which is basically having like an apartment on your property, whether it's detached or attached. We're also looking at increasing commercial densities for taller buildings. But probably most importantly to you guys that will be more applicable is one of my goals with this zoning rewrite is to remove the Old Town guidelines and create Old Town design standards. So rather than having guides for commercial construction, have minimum requirements. So like if you're removing windows with grids, you have to put in windows with the grids. If you're putting in grids, they have to be simulated divided light. Things of that threshold, because if it's within zoning, it becomes law, it has some teeth behind it. The guidelines are a little more loosely interpreted, and if, we didn't have a very strong landmarks commission, then, someone could take advantage of them. So trying to find more regulation behind that and still being state compliant as a historic district. So
the landmarks guidelines will go away.
That's
Old
my-
Town guidelines will go away.
that's my goal, but not completely go away. I mean, I think they might have to still exist as a document, but the zoning would take the first layer of precedence. So that's probably where you guys come involved the most, but those drafts would come to you guys to review before it gets adopted if you have any major heartburn on it. I did talk recently with a state preservationist at a conference I was just at, and in the tri-state area, he is unaware of anybody that has done historic preservation as zoning rules. He said he doesn't think it could not be done, he just is not aware of anybody in the tri-state area that's done that. So it's something we're looking at.
If it was in zoning, would people not have to apply then? Like, would there not, if the first 2 applications we heard today, if they were meeting design standards, would they not have to come before the commission?
So the idea is, one, we would like to make things as administrative as possible. Kind of like how we do like for like now, but I think the challenge we would come with landmarks is if you're making a change, just because it meets standards doesn't mean all the details are quite there. Like, it'd just be like the starting point for someone to figure out their application.
Sure.
But more reality, it's to say if someone didn't want to do something, then they would have to get a variance from the Planning and Zoning Commission after you guys make approvals of it. So it just makes it a more stringent process to make sure that those rules are being followed. We have something similar like in our commercial districts. We require red brick in our, shopping center areas. If you don't want to do red brick, you have to tell our Planning and Zoning Commission why, and they have to evaluate it. Similar with like setbacks, but they do a little design stuff as well. So just something I wanted to bring up as an idea.
I have a question about your accessory building part. Is that for existing structures only, or is that gonna push to also build new?
That's why we need someone on the committee to help do the framework.
I think Pat said since he was gonna miss so many meetings that he would do it.
That's what he gets for not coming.
Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, you talked about expanding the boundaries of Old Town. Are you thinking about expanding the preservation district?
Yeah, so that's part of the community plan, was to evaluate expanding Old Town. The historic district probably wouldn't expand, but the preservation district, we would look at stretching.
That's interesting.
So again, that's part of what, this group would help. The steering committee as a whole would be a part of, but particularly why we want a landmarks commission member to look at, you guys have more attention to some of the things that pertain to Old Town, I guess. So,
I'm just thinking, where would you extend it to?
Are you talking about preservation?
Yeah,
That's up to
North
him,
of the
not me.
tracks?
yeah, on the other side of the
I
tracks.
know, we've talked
Yeah,
about
because
that.
we're right
before,
at the
part of
tracks
it.
right now.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm thinking West Waterloo all the way to Cherry Landing. Grab all the frontage there and grab all of Fairfield County. Because it's a hard.
Along Waterloo?
Yeah, it's a hard stop at
At the
Franklin.
line? I was gonna ask that. So you could, there's nothing stopping you from doing that?
I have no idea why they didn't to start with.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So again, that's a lot of the discussion, we'll get into those weeds during that time, but council wants a landmarks member to volunteer.
but you're part of it.
Yes. Yes, staff will be doing majority of the legwork with the consultants. The steering committee is just there to help steer the process.
Staff meaning planning and zoning or not planning? Don't have a
City staff.
representative?
Planning and Zoning Commission will have 2 representatives.
Okay.
City staff will have
City staff is
4.
who? You, Lucas?
Me, Lucas, Matt, and the mayor.
Okay.
So
Happy to do it.
the most probably important detail is the time of the day. I figured that was important, 3 to 6,
You're talking 4 to 5 meetings over an 18-month period?
yeah,
So every 3 months or so, ish.
yeah. Or it could be, 3 months in a row, it's back to back to back, it just depends on the schedule. We're gonna iron out the schedule after this first meeting on the 12th.
I may be interested in that.
So,
Think about it for a minute. First
Yeah.
one's February 12th?
yeah,
Is it always the same day of the week?
we don't know. That's why we will need to meet on the 12th to figure that out. Our hope is it's gonna be, within either like the second week of the month, sort of thing. Like, we'll try to narrow down to make it easier for people to schedule, but we won't know what works with the majority of the group until we meet the first time, so. But you guys can talk it over in Rochambeau, and Russell will do whatever to figure it out.
If the city's using this consultant for
That's all I have for old new business.
Andrew, at the last council meeting, the law director brought up the problem of tabling versus postponing. Is that something that we should consider?
So our landmarks rules only allow for an application to be tabled by the Landmarks Commission once. Now, if the applicant asks to be tabled, they can table their own application indefinitely. The real teeth behind that conversation at council is so that way the board can't table someone indefinitely because they don't like their application and they don't want to vote on it. So traditionally, it's not an issue for you guys. If it becomes you know, that you keep pushing something out and, you know, the applicant keeps saying, no, I want you to vote on it, and you're like, no, then we'll have a conversation, but it's really to help someone from stalemating an application.
Okay.
Anything else? Anyone?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:26.
I'll second. Roger White,
Yes.
Pete Lynch,
Yes.
Whit Wardell,
Yes.
Rich Dodd, yes, David Kirkcraft.
Yes.
Linda Bovee.
Yes.